Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee with the evening war report. Well, the war is still going on. Negotiations with Hamas seem to be dead as a doornail after the assassination. Iran has decided that we, being Israel, is definitely complicit in this terrorist bombing event that killed over 100 people and wounded a lot more than that. Israel doesn't do junk work like that. Israel doesn't go blow innocent tourists up. Well, not tourists, citizens. We don't go doing that stuff. When we assassinate these leaders, we pinpoint pretty good just to the leaders. It's not Israel's work. If we were going to do it, first of all, it's an insult to the Mossad. This was a crude, stupid piece of work that some terrorists did. Now, they said they're going to take revenge. So what they're doing here, look, they know we didn't do this. Did they think we might have supplied the bomb materials to some terrorist, rebel group that hates the mullahs in Iran? Maybe that's what they think. Is that something Israel would be likely to do? Not really, maybe, but not likely because, these guys are a bunch of hacks. They're not skilled people. They just, they're no Green Berets and Navy SEALs. They're hacks. They go blowing people up. Like, come on. Israel doesn't like to put its footprint on things like that. It doesn't make any sense. But they want to blame us for it. What are we going to do? They're going to do it. But it seems stupid to me, but they're going to do it. They already did it. What are you going to do? Then they're going to retaliate. What are they going to do? I don't know. Somebody I respect is saying that if the Americans and their new coalition of a total of 13 nations, counting America, leaving Israel out, if they're going to attack the Houthis, they better make it a big honker of an attack. Because the Houthis are going to bounce back at them big time. I mean, late in the day today, they tried to get another ship. It was in the middle of the afternoon, maybe something like that. They fired at a ship, I believe. I'm pretty sure we're going to see the internet cables get cut. Invading the Houthis would be something. It'll probably take a good 2 weeks till this coalition gets a bunch of ships down there to attack Yemen. A week would be emergency basis, which it may be deemed an emergency. They may do it in a week. 2 weeks sounds about right. And then they'll start doing missile strikes on strategic targets. And the Houthis will bust a gut and start trying to find all kinds of creative ways to come back at them. Whatever that means. Will they attack Saudi Arabia oil refineries and mess with oil production? It's going to depend on the attitude of the Saudis towards them. If they tell the Saudis, look, we got 20,000 strong and we want to go march through Saudi Arabia to get over to Eilat and start killing Israel. And the Saudis say, what are you, freaking nuts? If I do that, Biden will blow my oil refineries up. I'm not doing that. Okay, then we'll blow your oil refineries up, So it could fall apart very quickly. Saudi had fights with them in the past and took pretty big losses. So the Saudis are not. See, what Saudi wants to do is walk on the middle of the road. Be a little friendly to America, a little friendly to the Houthis, ignore Israel, and hope everything turns out okay. And it won't. So the Houthis may take a position of, you're our friend and you're going to work with us, or you're our enemy and we're going to blow your oil refineries up, and worse. So Saudi's got a real problem. Can they enter Israel by boat? Nah, Navy would shred them. Can they get into Egypt and then use the Hamas tunnels and get into Hamas and help them fight? Yeah, if Egypt lets them. But Egypt's afraid to let a bunch of lunatics like that into their country right now. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, things could change. They could, if they could, they got enough boats, they could go up to Iraq and come into Iraq and then Syria and then come into Israel. But I don't think the coalition's going to let them. I mean, you're talking a lot of boats for 20,000 soldiers, and they need equipment. They can't just come in with rifles, and need all sorts of stuff. I don't think so. I mean, maybe Iran will protect them and escort them, and I don't know. I mean, they could try it. We'll just blow them to smithereens. So, the war in Lebanon was not that hot today. As far as I looked at it, it wasn't that bad. I think this is the second day of mourning for the dead guys. They go 2 days on mourning. But remember, retaliation, it's probably not going to be in disproportionate size. It's probably not going to be an all-out war. But whatever they do, Israel, Netanyahu, could convert it into an outright war. Oh, what they did was outrageous. We got to teach them a lesson and send 75 planes over there to each drop 3 or 4 bombs. And, Netanyahu wants this escalation. It'll be interesting when Blinken comes next week, what his position's going to be with Netanyahu. Not that Blinken's going to announce it, but we could observe Netanyahu's actions. And from his actions, we could assume what Blinken told him, Hamas is, we're getting to the point where the missiles coming out of Gaza are, worse than on the endangered species list. They're becoming extinct, So that's a relief. Some of the soldiers that got relieved from duty in Gaza went up north. And so, guys, in general, the world's getting ready to light on fire. I hope you see that. 13 countries kicked in warships to come to the Red Sea area where Yemen is to hand the Houthis their head. They gave them what they're calling a final warning. Cut this junk out or we're going to come over there and give you a heck of a shellacking. Threats don't work with these people. You see that already. They don't work on Iran, they don't work on Hamas, they don't work on Hezbollah, and they don't work on the Houthis, and they don't work on Iraq, and they don't work on Syria. A little maybe on Syria. So, be interesting to see if Turkey pops his cork when the Houthis get a good bombing. But they're underground. They're in tunnels and bunkers, and they're going to bounce back. They're not going to go bye-bye. Now, can these 13 countries concoct enough of a force to go in and do a ground invasion? Yeah. If they just each contributed a handful, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 from each country, they'd easily get to 50,000. And that would enable them to come in with all kinds of equipment, helicopters, tanks, planes, armored personnel carriers, bunker buster bombs, all sorts of stuff, and start ripping the place up. Israel would definitely be, probably there'd be several hundred Israeli special forces guys as advisors down there, maybe not wearing Israeli uniforms. because we just went through it in Hamas, and they'll give him a real shellacking. I have no doubt about it. A real shellacking. I mean, a real, But they're not going to get. If they stay there long enough and keep doing it, they'll get rid of them like we got rid of Hamas. They'll demilitarize them is what they'll do. Yeah, they could do it. It took us 2.5 months. It'd probably take them 4 to 6 weeks. Because they got more resources and more equipment, and we think Netanyahu's dragging the war out. So they could severely deactivate them in 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, give them a real, turn them back 25 years or something. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens and what they do to Saudi Arabia and what they might do to the UAE and what Iran does and what Biden does or doesn't do and what Turkey does. Turkey could be coming into swing here. Egypt, not yet, I don't think. I got to study the prophecies more carefully. They seem to be pretty low-key right now. And Jordan is a mess. Jordan's going to go. I don't know what day or week, but they're going to turn. It could be they kill the king or get rid of him, and some other powers come in and start taking over. That could be what will happen. Of course, the king of Jordan is a grade A schmuck, He's a complete rich guy's kid, nincompoop, incompetent, He's got such opposition and threats from within his own country politically, he's a loser. So they could get rid of that goof. Kuwait is just sitting there on their, on their hands, hoping everything turns out okay. I mean, Iraq ain't friends with them. Iran ain't friends with them. They're in a hot seat. Bahrain and Qatar, not so much. UAE, yeah. See, the UAE and Saudi Arabia are trying to be friends with America, not enemies. If they get too close with Iran and the Houthis, then they become America's enemies, and then they're UK's enemies and NATO's enemies. They're scared of that, but they're also scared of being Iran's enemies. So now they're in BRICS, which they're thinking is going to help them. I don't know. BRICS is going to eventually turn into like a NATO with an army. And if you're not going to belly up to the bar and throw your army at their command, you'll be out of BRICS. Now, if the Houthis blow the internet cables, and that takes out the SWIFT banking cables, and Putin was not lying when he said he's setting up his own cable system for a replica of the SWIFT system for BRICS, where they're going to have a gold-backed currency to trade with only the BRIC members with. Okay? So you got to picture this. The SWIFT banking system falls apart because they can't do wire transfers outside their borders. And Putin pops up with a wire transfer system with gold-backed trading currency, not for the people who put in their purse or wallet, just to use in trading with other BRIC members. So now China and Russia and Iran and all them shoot up to the head of the class, and they forget about sanctions and stuff like that. Stranger than fiction, huh? Well, at this point, I'll leave you, and I'll keep you updated, and that's it. I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out.